In this video, I'm finally getting my hands on a Fiat Multipla. It's an ugly car, it says so. Look, it's even got a hashtag, ugly. It is certainly one of the most distinctive people carriers that has ever been built. A car that was derided when new, but I think is going to attract quite the cult following, and there are so few left. So I'm really looking forward to putting this one through its paces. Let's get started. So the Fiat Multipla, launched in 1998, has been controversial ever since. It's not Fiat's first use of the name. There was a smaller rear-engined Fiat Multipla, I think in the late 1950s, early 60s. It was based on the then current Fiat 600 and very popular with Italian taxi drivers. Didn't really catch on and didn't spawn a load of rivals, but moved forward a few decades and MPVs were king. The Renault Espace, the Chrysler Grand Voyager over in America. These vehicles made people sit up and take notice and think this is what we need, a big practical wagon. The Fiat Multipla is based on the Fiat Bravo, but it's 12 inches wider, and that's because uniquely it has free abreast seating. So it has 2 rows of free seats, all designed to take an adult. So you haven't got the traditional seats in a boot, which is often a downside of an MPV. Kids sitting right in the crumple zone. So despite being 12 inches wider than a Fiat Bravo, it's actually slightly shorter, just under 4 meters long in pre-facelift form. They did facelift the car, I think it was 2004, to try and smooth out these front end looks that were causing so much controversy. And of course everyone then complained that the new one looked really boring, so poor Fiat, they couldn't win. It is an in-house design, and just very distinctive with these weird little sort of piggy headlamps and these extra lamps here. There's a bit of lack appeal going on. This isn't the prime example, but that's a sad sign of the times, but prime examples are disappearing fast. I think this one's a brilliant colour. It's got 100 horsepower, 1.6 litre engine, but yeah, I think the styling is just incredible. I think we have a future cult car on our hands here, especially as survivors are disappearing so readily. I mean, look at the detail. I thought that was condensation, but no. The little bubbles in the plastic of the rear lights. The Multipla sort of almost etched into the back. I mean, it isn't. It's just stuck on, but still, it's a different way of looking at things. It's a different way of doing an MPV. But first and foremost, an MPV must be practical. So let's have a look inside. Just before we get in, a neat feature here. You see this one's taken a few hits. When you open the door, that is the first thing that's going to strike a wall. So you've got that and the rubbing strip to protect the edge of your doors. I've got a right mounted handbrake because of the central seat in the middle. Remote boot release, a little Multipla icon. Same on the bonnet release here. Lovely little vents there. A little cubby here, and you can turn the passenger airbag off in there. But otherwise the steering column is straight out of any other Fiat, I think. Maybe the stalks are slightly different. All the controls are laid out here in the middle, and the interior mirror is actually slightly offset to the driver's side, which means the windscreens must be right-hand drive and left-hand drive specific. And that means when you're sitting in the middle seat, as I am now, the view ahead isn't just of a mirror. Unfortunately, Rob's added a dash cam, which does take some of the view away. But still, I love the colour contrasts in here. I think the dashboard is really good. Look at these lovely vents, plenty of them. A big one there as well. This one has air conditioning. Some degradation going on there. They've become quite sticky. We've got more storage up here and a bit more down here as well, complete with cassettes, which is a shame because we don't have a cassette player anymore. But yeah, very distinctive, very spacious. Even this middle seat is actually really comfortable, and yeah, a fine place to sit. We might as well sit over here as well, and loads of legroom, which isn't always the case on an MPV. So yeah, very spacious. This one has the optional dual sunroofs as well, so plenty of light in here, even with the limo tint that's going on in the back. Speaking of the back, entrance couldn't be easier. The doors open nice and wide, plenty of room to get in. So if I hop aboard, and again, it's comfortable in the back as well. The seats do fold, both the middle seats. If I pull the lever here, the back comes down. Unfortunately, it's a two-handed job, bear with. There we go. and we've got all the drink holders you could need. Look at this. This will cause much excitement in our household, where drink holders seem to be a requirement. So the seats fold. This front one also slides back and forth, which again I can't do with one hand, it seems. So you can have a bit more boot space if you need, or just to bring your cup holders to a more natural location. So yeah, you can adjust for brake. I think these are as far back as they'll go, so you can have them more upright. We can see the seat belt mounted there. Here is the seat belt for the middle seat, but you apparently it doesn't retract very well. That's good. There we go. And yeah, big sunroof just to make life a little more pleasant back here. But yeah, really nice. The headroom's a bit tight with this sunroof, but still comfortable enough. And just look at the size of the windows, absolutely enormous. We should probably have a look at the boot. Oh, this is going to be Italian, isn't it? This ain't going to be an external release. That's a favourite of the Italians, so we shall pop the release there. And there we go. Nice big boot. We've got a traditional sort of a parcel shelf you can lift up out of the way, but plenty of space, and you know that's not going to be compromised by having to have seats there. So yeah, really practical vehicle. The tailgate just goes high enough for me, and there's a little strap for short people. Do you know any short people? So they can still pull the boot down. I should probably add, this is blatantly me testing whether I like this car enough to buy one, if I could find one, because it would just be an ideal family wagon. But I think we should probably get on board, which is a shame because you can't see the outside once you're inside. Under the bonnet, and I definitely didn't forget to record this earlier, we've got this 16 valve 4-cylinder engine, a fairly hardy and reliable unit, nothing much to shout about. 1.6 litres, about 100 brake horsepower. See McPherson strut front suspension, but even this, I think it gives much better engine access than some MPVs, because it's not a one box design. It is very deliberately two box. We've got a little box for the engine and then a big box for all the people, so I think that's actually quite a lovely touch. Oh well, there you go, you get to get the central driving seat, or central passenger seat rather, view of what's going on. Let's just see if I can adjust this seat for height. Oh, it's electric. There we go. I do like a bit of height when I'm driving my MPV. So we'll start the engine. Now, because it's on the Fiat Bravo Brava running gear, effectively, there is a part of me wondering what this would be like if you shove one of the 5-cylinder engines in. Surely with the width, that would be possible. That would be absolutely splendid, I think. It does feel very wide, this driving position. I'm just going to move forward a touch. There we go. And off we go. Because the only engine options really were the 1.6 petrol or a turbo diesel, certainly here in the UK. Oh yes, quite a nice little stubby gear change there. Not the most accurate perhaps, but good. Plenty of room for my left sandal here, so that's good. I'm going to have to open my window a bit. It is on the warm side today, and we better give it an all-important wiper test. Oh, you got to turn your own wipers on. That's rubbish. Oh, we've got a minor triangle of doom, and it must be said the wipers aren't coming right to the edge here, are they? That's not ideal, but yeah, there is a little triangle there, which is best avoided in most cases, I would say. I don't know whether you could get your way around it by using a different size passenger wiper blade. Possibly. It's very close. You might just adjust the arm a little. Is there a mist function? Oh yes, there it is. Mist function's at the top. And is it? Yeah, it puts it onto fast speed when you do that. This one would have had air conditioning, but the compressor has apparently just gone noisy. So that's been the belt's been removed. Well, it goes quite well for a 1.6. I'm not sure how it'd feel once you've got a full complement of passengers on board, mind you. I suspect it would feel a little sluggish then, but the turbo diesel offers a bit more grunt, and I think it's a fairly well regarded diesel as well. But you know, the ride seems quite good, and visibility is just excellent. These mirrors are like van mirrors, and van mirrors tend to be good because they often have no rear windows, so you need good blind spot mirrors. These are excellent. It must make motorway driving an absolute doddle. And it is also just unusual to be in what's a fairly modern design with such enormous glass area. It's immense. This one's done 105,000 miles, so that's not too many at all, really. But it does look, you know, a little careworn in places, and that's kind of the problem. A lot of these have seen a lot of family action, and as I'm discovering, families are not always good for your cars. Sorry, Hubnuts and dogs, but you know, you're harsh on cars. The driver's seat is quite firm, I would say, and it doesn't have much shape to it. It feels quite flat. It reminds me of the Honda SMX, but it's got a little less give. I mean, as you'd expect, cornering, it just feels very good because it's based on the Bravo, and the Bravo was very good. I have tested a Bravo with the 5-cylinder engine, and I enjoyed it a great deal, but I think I actually like this more. But now I've got dream build scenarios going on in my head. You know, this platform was also used on the Alfa Romeo 156, so could you have a V6 Multipla? That'd be crazy. Oh, I will say, pulling the handbrake on, your hand almost gets trapped against the door. There's not actually quite enough space down there. That's an incredible oversight. Because I'm one of those rare drivers, I do like to use my handbrake. Yeah, it's a nice drivetrain. It's very simple. Very smooth, rather. So here we are pottering along in traffic, second gear, 5 miles an hour, apparently. And it's pulling quite nicely and cleanly. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. So lights are on the slider here. Rear wiper, we'll better do a rear wiper test at some point. Hard to see that against the black background, but it looks like a decent wiping performance, albeit that blade is shot. But it does clear the area where the high level brake light is, so that's a good thing. I will say, having a head restraint on the middle seat here does mean your rear view is somewhat restricted. But to be honest, I'm kind of in van mode, and I'm already defaulting to the external mirrors because they're so good. The passenger door feels a very long way away, so you'd be very glad of central locking in this car. But yeah, we've got buttons here for locking the doors. That doesn't seem to work. Maybe that's not locking the doors, or maybe it's broken. Front and rear fog lights, hazard lights, heated rear window. Yeah, this is really, really nice, actually. I was kind of disappointed when he said it was the 1.6 petrol, but I'm not sure I am so disappointed. Trying to open the sunroof, but this might tilt you up. Hold on. Oh no, I've opened the back one. Let's try and open the front one as well. Up you go. Wait. Oh, and it's a slide back as well. But I can't slide back because you're attached to it. So we won't do too much of that, but that's certainly helping with the ventilation. We may have to close it again if we actually find somewhere to drive at speed. So 1,871 millimeters wide compared to the 1750 of the Bravo. Yeah, to be fair, it is quite tight in a supermarket car parking space. I don't know how easy it'd be to actually get out if there's something parked next to us. But there's a Mark 6 Escort over there, so it's not all bad. And I think these cars are fairly hardy and reliable as well, which certainly isn't true of Fiats of old always. Oh, my friends are going to be hating me now. Hello, Gavin in the Fiat Motor Club. Well, there we are, we're on to the M5. We're doing 60 miles an hour. There's a bit of wind noise because I've got both sunroofs open. But some much needed ventilation coming through. That is very, very pleasant. I can turn that fan off a bit now. Yeah, the mirrors are, as I anticipated, very good in a motorway environment. I said the blind spot mirrors are actually a bit low. I don't know if they can be adjusted up. Handy for spotting cyclists. You have got adjustment on the mirrors. The switch is up here. But I think it only adjusts to the top part. Most people seem to be ignoring the 60 mile an hour speed limit through here. So like I say, they did facelift the Multipla in about 2004, I think it was. And it lingered on until 2010. We'll say it is a little busy at motorway speeds. We're doing 60 at 3,000 revs at the moment, so now we can go a bit more quickly. Yeah, we're now doing 3,500 revs at 70, and it just feels a bit frenetic, I suppose is the word. I mean, you'd want to be on good terms, good friendly terms with your central passenger, I think. I think it would feel a little cosy up here, because of course us drivers aren't used to having anyone sitting that close. I don't think even in my 2CV you sit that close. Yeah, I'm going to describe this a very competent package. It's very pleasant to drive. It doesn't do anything particularly well. I've noticed these little side windows down here seem to have frosted over, so I'm guessing they're probably some perspex or something. A bit like the rear side windows on a Citroen BX on the posher models. But yeah, I mean, quite happily drive this around. Starting to have very serious thoughts about trying to find one. So that was the Fiat Multipla. I really rather like that. Very enjoyable package. Perhaps not surprising given its underpinnings are a very good hatchback. And yeah, supreme practicality. My only slight concern is if you go to the supermarket car park, is it actually going to fit in spaces? Because it is so enormously wide. But yeah, I mean, plenty of people go shopping in vans, so perhaps that's not an issue at all. And I have to say, I mean, some people may think this is ugly, and I can see why it caused so much controversy when it was new, because there was nothing like it at all. But I think time has been very kind to this. I think this even has the danger of becoming quite iconic, and we will wish car design was as interesting as this, because these days I don't think it is. I think the Koreans are doing a great job coming up with some really stylish cars, but there is nothing that quite has this quirk factor where it seems like, oh, we forgot the engine, we better stick a bonnet on the front of it. It's just brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's just a design like no other, and I love it for that. There's so many delightful little features. Even just this, where you got the air intake and the Fiat badge here in the middle of a part of a car that doesn't normally exist. It's great. So yeah, I may have to jump on the classifieds. That's the danger of this job. What a fascinating thing. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget you can head to the Hubnut store and buy merchandise. We have other ugly cars on the fleet, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Nah. We'll get rid out of the way of Mr. Policeman then, shall we?